Hello, my name is Richard Fothergill and I'm the Global Head of Service Management for Munich Re and the CIO across APAC. My background, 30 years in IT across the financial industry, in different locations and a mixture of local, regional and global roles. I've managed application teams, infrastructure teams, strategy and transformation teams and service management teams during this time. I joined Munich Re last year to help build a service management team and its capabilities. For those of you who don't know what Munich Re is, it's the world's largest reinsurer. It has 20,000 employees globally across the world. And from a business perspective, it reinsures companies against natural disasters like wildfires, earthquakes, typhoons, hurricanes, and businesses against marine, aviation, life and health.
Hi, I'm Duncan Doherty. I'm the CloudStratex ServiceNow practice lead. I've got a 20-year career in IT, spanning everything from working on the tin as a technician to my current role and everything in between. I've managed and operated 24/7 international operations, worked and lived in very different countries following a career in the military. CloudStratex are operational integration specialists. We pride ourselves on putting the customer first and incubating anything that we do. What that means is that we build up the internal capability whilst we're there. We work closely with the on-site internal teams, upskill them, empower them, and then we leave. That's what we do.
Munich Re were in a challenging position due to previous migrations and decisions. We had an overly customized IT service management environment with multiple instances, different tools, different versions of those tools, basically trying to do service management, incident, problem, change and CMDB. It was seen as a disjointed ticketing tool. Now, through the project we will talk you through, we have consolidated all of the tools, standardized the processes globally, and have an enterprise platform that's central to the strategic digital future of Munich Re and the capabilities that this brings. So how did we shift the perspective in Munich Re? We had a complex, multi-tool, multi-instance service management landscape. The costs were totally out of control due to multiple tools and different support licenses and different teams supporting the tools. The vendor blueprint was restricting capability and every change had to be paid for, even if it was a small change to a field. We had different versions of software and some of them were even out of support. So we were locked in and locked down. Upgradability was therefore a huge problem for us due to these customizations, let alone unlocking future potential or different ServiceNow modules like the CSM. The CMDB data quality was poor, everything was done manually, so often incorrect and definitely incomplete, and a lack of global standards and teams that just didn't want to use the tool. It wasn't very user-friendly. They would prefer to have their own Excel spreadsheet, their own SharePoint, rather than use the tools. So we had governance issues, a lack of control over processes, people preferring not to use the processes. So not surprisingly, for those of you that are in the financial institution, internal audit had a field day. We had findings around lack of control. We had findings around a lack of transparency of the vendors as they had their own systems and we tried to join these together. So Munich Re couldn't see the P3, P4 incident tickets or service requests. So that's why we wanted to change. So the challenge was how to change this and start the transformation journey. Now, after this project and the transformation, we have one consolidated, up-to-date, vanilla, out-of-the-box ServiceNow platform. So our destiny is in our own hands. We've built in-house capability with developers and global process owners, and with a recognized ServiceNow partner in CloudStratex to help us in this journey. We, for the first time, actually have a single point of truth for application and infrastructure config. So we have a single CMDB and an exciting plan for building the future and expanding on the capabilities, which we'll talk about later. So this plan is supported by my colleagues at the C-level and ServiceNow. As a recognised partner, we have regular meetings, and as an enterprise tool that we all use globally within Munich Re.
As Richard has said, we are currently engaged at Munich Re on a different project. We were implementing the digital operations for Munich Re. When, as part of that, we desperately needed all of the configuration management data to understand what could be moved to the cloud. What we found was a disarray of several projects in flight, all touching or in and around the CMDB and the ServiceNow platform in various stages of being stalled, stopped, being told it'll be ready in a month, a high level of frustration within Munich Re themselves and obviously to their vendors. And we wanted to show a different way. What we did internally is reviewed all of the different options. We then started working closely with Richard and his team to come up with some realistic options of how we could assist, how we could put them back in control, how we could fix and create a single point of truth for configuration management information. We presented to Richard and the senior management at Munich Re 5 separate options, from obviously the obvious do nothing, upgrade what they have, maintaining the customization levels that they had, to starting again. In the end, the decision was made that we would start on a fresh version of ServiceNow on the New York version. What we then were tasked with doing was working in a very tight set of timescales, some of which imposed by ServiceNow because their existing implementation was on Kingston, already out of life or out of support, heavily customized with a vendor blueprint that was integrated with a HP service management tool, which should have been retired 2 years previously when ServiceNow was rolled out, and also integrated with a vendor platform of ServiceNow on the London version. As you can imagine, this was highly complex, highly customized, and didn't provide any level of information that was actually usable by operations. In fact, with the integrations and the way that the data went from the HP Service Manager tool through to the two ServiceNow instances, it could be up to 24 or 48 hours before an update made in one tool made it to another. We set out on the journey by standing up a team, working very closely with Richard's team. So it was a blended team, which was important, again, as part of our empowerment and incubation that we do at CloudStratex. We started looking at all of the integrations. So there was 12 integrations across the existing tools that would need to be migrated, all of which populated or fed from the CMDB. We presented the future state, so the what good looks like picture of what we were trying to achieve, presented to all of the global process owners and key SMEs. This in itself proved challenging, more so because of the hearts and mind change which would need to happen. Everyone had been so used to being told what they can do as opposed to saying what they need due to the restrictions and the customizations of the existing platforms. With Richard's guidance, set out this aggressive plan, and we separated it in a couple of phases. The first phase being standing up this single point of truth, a single CMDB which was clean, fresh, without customizations, that had the, where possible, out-of-the-box ServiceNow connectors driving and feeding that CMDB data to get a clear, strong, usable baseline that we could then build upon, migrate the processes, etc. across in a second phase. We had some very difficult times during this 9-month period, one of which being COVID. So right at the start of the process interactions where we were gathering all of the requirements, no longer could we meet face to face. Everything obviously as this new strange world that we all live in became virtual. Meetings had to be held via Teams and Skype, which of course is never as comfortable or people find themselves as easy to give up the information as when you sat around a table with a whiteboard. But we managed to achieve that within 9 months. So what did we achieve over these 9 months? Well, we changed the culture from customize to out of the box. What this meant was the difficult transition of people expecting either to be locked down or just to be given what they wanted, to understanding that actually the best way forward is look at what the tool or the tools can provide out of the box and build on that. It was a significant culture change and one that was important, that was adopted quickly. We rebuilt the CMDB from this heavily customized version where ServiceNow and the table structure had been changed and altered so that it could take HP Service Management data, to the out-of-the-box CSDM that's within ServiceNow. So again, a step change from the sort of taxonomies that HP Service Manager used and the terminologies to, again, the out-of-the-box CI classes and how it's being populated within ServiceNow. We migrated all of the operational processes. So the original plan was, given the timescales, we would move them as is, and then a future phase would be to improve. But we managed to, I believe, create some significant improvements in the processes as well. So we improved incident to better use the fresh, clean CMDB data that drove automatic incident prioritization and to the relevant resolver teams. We migrated change, again, using some of the CAB workbenches, setting up all of their new local CABs and global CAB structure. Again, auto-assignment of approvals and tickets based on a CI and which application that it supported. Problem management was, again, using problem management out of the box. So again, all of the workflows and the dashboards to improve problem resolution. Knowledge was a big one. Knowledge was heavily customized in the previous version. It was aged, and the service desk, the global service desk, took this as an opportunity to improve, which they did. So a lot of the knowledge was rewrote. It was tagged correctly, put into new knowledge bases. These were linked and made available to the service desk end users as part of the first call. So using the new workbenches that came with New York, the service desk agents were able to search knowledge, requests, etc. that was available to them. We stood up a new service portal. So again, a one-stop shop. So for end users, they had one place to go. They could they could look at their requests, ask for a request, ask the service desk, log an incident, see the status of anything that they needed, as well as looking at current outages or issues or upcoming changes that might be occurring that might affect them. A massive step forward in the journey that we want to take Munich Re on with ServiceNow, something that they didn't have, not to the same extent that they have now. We created a single CMDB, so we migrated from 3 platforms into 1. We moved and integrated all of the integrations correctly using the out-of-the-box connectors. We created a couple of scoped applications to manage the data transfer and again, where, as Richard will go on to in the future state shortly, we created this data management scoped app so that existing data that couldn't be auto-discovered could at least be managed correctly. It was no longer a free-for-all. You didn't have 300 plus users who had full access to update and write over CIs and CMDB information. We put that governance and control in place by the use of scoped app where there was data that couldn't be discovered that needed to be managed. We consolidated one of their major vendors, again, who was using their own platform with their own tools for monitoring and auto incident creation, again, onto a single platform, thereby giving Munich Re that true transparency of what the vendor's doing. No more did P3s, P4s, and other incidents just disappear off into another platform to be managed without knowing what was going on. Everything was now transparent in that single platform for Munich Re, and all of the global process owners, the service delivery managers, had full access to everything that the vendor was doing as well. We saved money. That's obviously a big important aspect. By migrating onto a single platform, Munich Re avoided the cost of having to renew licenses for HP Service Manager, which were due. Saved money on the integrations that were being used to transform the data from one platform to another. Everything was now into a single platform. And we laid the foundations for the future, which Richard will come on to shortly, which is really important. I think for 2 years before we came on, and Richard obviously had the vision to engage us with a new platform, Munich Re had never been able to really fully understand or appreciate the power of the ServiceNow platform. Their hands were tied. Again, they still had their system, the HP Service Manager, which should have been retired 2 years previously, and they were tied into the past as opposed to being able to look to the future. And this is really important because it drives a lot of the future upgrades and benefits that Richard will come on to. And we improve the user experience. We moved Munich Re from openly avoiding using the existing ServiceNow platform, from looking at other alternate ways of doing things, as Richard mentioned, Excel spreadsheets, SharePoint sites, to only interact with the global processes when necessary, and provided Munich Re now with a tool that Richard has a new issue he has to deal with where everybody is asking, can we do this on ServiceNow? Can ServiceNow do this? And it's a good place to be in. It's a good problem to have. From a CloudStratex perspective, we achieved a lot of our goals, that being empowering the customer through incubation. Working as a blended team, we're able to upskill and show a better way, a different way within the internal teams, that the power is yours and that you have control. And it's important to understand that everybody has a voice. Their needs, their wants, their requirements are now have that platform to be able to express those, and obviously through Richard and his team now be able to see those through to fruition.
So what was the value delivered by this successful project, which is the first step in our journey? I mean, this was not just a lift and shift. It's a major culture change to introduce or change processes globally. Within 1 year, we've transformed service management. We've rolled out global processes. We've implemented a 24/7 major incident management capability, which is driving global stability. And we've moved to ServiceNow as the central single service management tool, which is the only way we could achieve this globally. We've elevated the profile of having an enterprise-wide service management tool and are communicating these future capabilities this brings and the options it brings across Munich Re IT. We've taken back control of our own destiny, no more blueprints, and we've addressed the various audit findings relating to control, global consistency, and moved vendors onto this central Munich Re service now, which in itself is a big challenge. So now we have a platform to improve efficiency. Some examples of things that we've already put live, or capabilities that we've already put live. The central self-service portal is live. It's the first steps in the self-service and self-help culture that we're driving. We're exploring the use of full discovery, and we've already switched on cloud-based Azure discovery and on-premise virtualization VMware in production. We've improved the efficiency of the service desk with full end-user transparency, something that wasn't there before. We send emails when any incident ticket that someone has raised has been resolved. They find out what was done to resolve the issue, and they get 2 tick boxes at the top. Has this fixed your issue? Yes or no? If it's yes, that email will then close off the ticket within ServiceNow, or no, it will reopen it with comments around why this hasn't helped. So full engaged, automated end user transparency and follow-on end user surveys as well. We're starting to build automated deployments, which is part of the capability that we want to expand out. And that module I talked about earlier that we couldn't introduce in the blueprint, we've rolled out the CSM module of ServiceNow, and we now have external clients that can digitally ask questions of IT, raise issues with IT through that CSM module into ServiceNow. And upgradability, we said was a challenge before, and we were on out of support versions. We're now moving to Paris as one of the early adopters, and 2 weeks ago we upgraded our development environment, and we're now testing out the capabilities there. So then what? Successfully implemented the project. What's the future? How do we look to the future? We want to be more efficient. We want to save more money and effort, same as we all do. But we also want to improve the data quality and expand automation. We want to join together other interfaces with the CMDB. So what you can see on the slide is a roadmap that we've defined to help people better understand the capabilities we intend to roll out. Working with Munich Re IT, my peers across the management team, and ServiceNow, so that we all have a common understanding of where we would like to move. And I'll pull out a couple of key things that are exciting for us. Vulnerability management. We have tools within our risk and security teams that assess and scan the vulnerabilities. Tenable is the one we use. There's multiple in the market. If we can connect that to the CMDB, we will then know the software and the applications and the infrastructure that have vulnerabilities within the CMDB. It's about joining that information together. We're piloting Cloud Insight because we've switched on Microsoft Azure cloud-based discovery, and we're trying to understand the usage across the cloud within that capability. We're also looking at ServiceNow discovery. I mentioned we've done two aspects. We're looking at what across the entire infrastructure we can auto-discover to better improve the quality of the CMDB and remove more and more manual tasks. And one of the most exciting for us, the one that we're driving at this particular moment in time, is to roll out this whole self-service, self-help, self-heal culture, where you look through knowledge and try and diagnose things yourselves. We're in a much more tech-savvy world. It's what we normally do in our day-to-day lives. You Google it if you can't do something. That's what we're trying to use. And if you can't fix it, we're enabling the virtual agent stroke chatbot capability to move away from the old call the service desk, and actually you can chat to them in the same way as we do in our day-to-day lives. And in the integration side, we're using a lot more of the integration hub spokes that come with ServiceNow. We're expanding the interfaces to improve the capability. One example is with Dynatrace that we've purchased as one of the best-in-class APM tools. We're connecting that in that will help us understand the front-to-back service mapping of the application. It helps us join to raise automated incidents from the AI capability that it has within Dynatrace. We're also looking to do automated deployment and move towards a more CI/CD cloud-based capability using the hubs that it already has within Azure and DevOps. So that's just some of the things that we're excited about and looking at our next 1 to 2 year roadmap. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you found this interesting. So that's the end of the presentation, and we'll be happy to take any questions.